fellow film fans, thanks for tuning in. My name is Mercy and this is the Funny Pajamas YouTube channel. So it's What If Wednesdays yet again, and I'm back with a review for the latest episode. Now, if you haven't noticed that spoiler sign that's up on the screen now yet, I do want to warn you, this is going to delve into spoilers. So if you haven't watched the latest episode, episode 4, go check it out, come back and we can have a fun discussion. And before I forget, let me tell you this, please smash that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that beautiful bell icon so that you're notified. Doctor Strange, he's going with his girlfriend, Dr. Christine Palmer, who in the movie Doctor Strange was played by Rachel McAdams, and I believe she voices the character in the What If series as well. By the way, she is confirmed to be returning for Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, so can't wait to see her there. Always love watching her in movies. She's a really good actress. So anyway, I digress. So he's going out for the night to celebrate. He just performed, a huge surgery successfully, and the two of them are going out to celebrate. Now, in the original movie, Doctor Strange loses the use of his hands. Now, in this What If series, in this episode of the What If series, he does not get very severely injured. Instead, Dr. Christine Palmer ends up passing away. So he's heartbroken of this, and this is what leads him to search out the mystic arts and learn it, and that leads him on the path to becoming the Sorcerer Supreme. Jump forward 2 years and he's sitting in the inner sanctum and he's mulling over things, and he's got the Eye of Agamotto, that is basically the time stone, and he's wondering, what if I could go back in time to save her? I now have the time stones with me. I could go back, I could alter it, I could save her. And Wong comes in and says, don't do that. I know what you're thinking, but don't mess with these things, okay? Strange, he says, he originally agrees, he says yes, and then he's like, changes his mind and he decides to use the Eye of Agamotto. He goes back in time and tries to save Dr. Christine Palmer. Unfortunately for him, that does not occur, and no matter how many times he goes back in time to save her, no matter how many times he tries to change the scenario, manipulate it so that she's not in the same place, so that she's somewhere else, so that she's under his watch, something or the other happens and she ends up dying. He learns that her death is a focal point, a fixed point in time which needs to occur so that he ends up on his quest for the mystic arts, so that he ends up becoming the Sorcerer Supreme. Now, after multiple tries and why can't I do this? I have the power, I have the time stone, why am I not able to do this? And then he thinks more and more about the library of Cagliostro. Now, if we movie Doctor Strange, the library of Cagliostro is where there's a lot of forbidden knowledge, lots of hidden knowledge, books basically, and in the first movie a few of the books are in the possession of the Ancient One and her group, so he uses those to learn his magic. So basically he wants to go back there and he wants to change time, basically manipulate time. And that's where the Ancient One turns up and tells him, see, he's back in the past at this point, having lost Christine Palmer yet again. And that's when he makes his decision. That's when the Ancient One turns up and tells him, see, you cannot, this is a fixed point, it's not going to change. Meddling with this is going to rip the fabric of reality. Do not do it. But Strange is like, in his own arrogant way, he's like, no, I will do it. You have to find me first to stop me. And just before he escapes, the Ancient One uses her powers and splits the timeline into half. So essentially she creates two versions of Doctor Strange. The version that's good, that goes on to become the Sorcerer Supreme, and the version that takes the dark side, the version that takes the dark route and goes in search of a method to bring Christine Palmer back to life. So basically, so I'm basically doubling him, the evil Doctor Strange and the good Doctor Strange. Evil Doctor Strange ends up in the library of Cagliostro, finds the books and reads up and finds that he needs to have the immense amount of power in order to do this. And to gain that power, he needs to borrow it from other beings, other mystical beings or other living things. So he tries off first, his first summoning he calls this tentacly creature. And this tentacly creature bears a very similar resemblance to the creature that comes out of the portal in the first episode of What If, where Captain Carter, pushes it back through the portal. So just a side note that. But he tries to get its power, but the creature attacks him and he's like, okay, if they're not going to I just wanted to talk to them, ask them to lend me the power. If they're not going to, I'll take it by force. And you see he's starting to take a much darker tone. So he starts off with smaller mystical beings like gnomes and small little things, and then he slowly increases the amount of power he's taking from these creatures, absorbing them into himself to a dragon and whatnot. And despite that, he realizes that he needs more power. So he's greedily absorbing all the power, all these beings. And in the process, he himself is changing, he's metamorphosizing into something that he's clearly not. Meanwhile, the good Doctor Strange has by now become Sorcerer Supreme. All this while the evil Doctor Strange is working, years have passed. So, and he has remained frozen in time. So the good Doctor Strange is in the sanctum, and he steps outside and he sees the world is starting to, come apart at the seams. It is falling. And then the Ancient One makes an appearance and tells him, see, there's this evil version of you. I had to split you. You are the only one who can stop him. Stop him before he wrecks this reality, wrecks this universe completely. He's trying to bring to life your girlfriend, Dr. Christine Palmer. So this sets up the battle between good Doctor Strange and evil Doctor Strange, and they duke it out. But unfortunately, good Doctor Strange loses. The evil one wins, and he resurrects Christine Palmer. But by doing so, he has wrecked the time-space reality to such an extent that everything's disintegrating, including Christine. So this is when the Watcher who's been watching comes forward and actually talks to him. This is the first time, mind you, that we're seeing the Watcher actually interacting with a person in one of these, alternate timelines. And he tells him, you could have, and Strange is basically begging him, I know you are almost like a god, you can stop this if you want to. And the Watcher is basically telling him, I can't stop this. Even if I want to, I couldn't stop. You knew what you were dealing with. You knew what you were getting yourself into, and yet you forged ahead despite that. You reap what you sow. And he just leaves. And Doctor Strange is left with Christine Palmer dying in his hands yet again. And that's where we end this episode. Now, my thoughts on this episode straight off, the first thing that stood out to me was the relationship between Christine and Strange. Now, in the movie, they slightly touch on it, but they don't extrapolate on it too much. Not focusing on it too much. There is tension between, there is some, you can see that there is love between them, but they don't show that it is so much that, that Strange is willing to do all this for her, actually. They don't delve into that so much. There is love on her side and his side, but they never really focus on it. Probably in the second movie, where we know McAdams is going to make an appearance again. Maybe they'll explore it further in that. Speaking of the second movie, that is Multiverse of Madness, I do believe that, I have a hunch. Don't quote me on effects of this episode are going to spill on to the other episodes. Probably I'm interested in seeing whether it will affect the other episodes going ahead, whether it's going to have even further vast reaching effects and maybe affect Spider-Man No Way Home and maybe even Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. So I am interested in seeing that. Also, the Watcher, like I mentioned, this is the first time the Watcher makes an appearance and directly communicates with some being who is a focal point in one of these episodes. I do think he's going to he's going to get more involved moving further ahead. By the way, Jeffrey Wright as the voice of the Watcher is inspired casting. He's just amazing. I could hear that guy talk all day long. Anyway, I digress. Now, I have always straight away told you that after the first episode itself, that the animation style, was not my favorite. It took some time to grow on me. I do feel it does not lend itself to emoting the facial expressions and all too much. I'm still getting used to it. But to give credit where it's due, this style of animation seems to suit the action sequences really well. And in this episode, I thought it suited the sequences, particularly where the good Doctor Strange and evil Doctor Strange duke it out, where they use the mystic arts. I thought it suited that really beautifully. Like I said, the facial features and all, I'm still not a big fan of, but it is growing on me. I'm interested in seeing how they move further ahead, whether the episodes that have come so far will somehow interconnect. I do think they will. I do think the watcher's going to get more involved, but that's just me. I'd like to hear from you guys, so hit me up in the comment section down below. Let me know if you've got any Easter eggs and stuff like that, because I really love listening and watching such videos. So don't feel free to hit me up. And if you want to contact me on Twitter, go right ahead. Hit me up at mercy_d on Twitter, on Instagram at mercy_sd. You can check out my Funny Pajamas Facebook page, simply at Funny Pajamas. Links will be in the description down below. Also, don't forget to check out my website at www.funny-pajamas.com. And I know by now I don't need to say it, but I am going to say it, pajamas with a Y. And if that's not your jazz, you can hit me up by email simply on mercy@funny-pajamas.com. I'd love to hear from you guys. That's all I have for you right now. Hoping to see where this goes. Ranking wise, this was not my favorite episode. If I were to rank it from top to bottom, I'd say 2, 3, 4, 1. 1 was the weakest episode for me. It took maybe, like I said, the animation style took a little getting used to for me. But it is a solid episode, not my favorite, but in third place for me. I think the first two places do go to episode 2 and 3. 2 is just a bit higher than 3, mainly for the nostalgia effect, nostalgia factor of, hearing the great Chadwick Boseman, the great late Chadwick Boseman. So that's it. So that's all I have for you right now. Hope to hear from you again soon. I will see you again in the next one. This is Mercy signing out. Bye. Have a good one, everyone.